Welcome to the Seraphine Podcast. I am Seraphine Arocha, and today we are checking in with the doctor. Dr. Auburn, welcome.
Yes, I'm back.
You are
Thanks for
back.
having me.
God. All right. Third episode together.
Yes.
This is like, it's kind of crazy because I feel like time is now going by at the speed of light. It was like
2020's over.
It's over, and it feels over, and it feels like in November, it's all going to come down to the vote, and it's going to come down to what our country is going to react in the vote. So let's talk about what has happened to you personally since our first podcast, how your business has changed, how you're changing, and then what's different. I just want to know all the things that are different now.
So when we started, I started in June, and I had 25 people sign up for the first one.
Yeah.
The numbers have diminished a bit, every month, but there's also more bigger companies that are picking up and, chatting with me and wanting to train their trainers and their leadership all the way down. And so that's really nice. Something that did happen right after we met last time was the Chiefs game. And I know you were at that game, right?
Yep.
And I've just been itching to talk about that because you were literally there. And I just had a commentary about that, and it really hurt my heart to see that happen in our hometown. But can you tell me how that felt? I just want to flip back and then come back.
You know what? I'm in a really weird place right now because I'm not an angry person. I'm like a person who is a crier. Now I'm just getting pissed because for me, I look at what keeps us together, what motivates us, what inspires us. Sports is like what this city feeds off of.
Brought us together, for sure.
And the fact that there was just this kind of to me, it was the very least they could do to stand together. Sure. The very least they could do it. They could have done a lot more.
They could have just not played, right? They could have done so much more.
And then to get those
get that reaction,
to get the reaction of some pissy boos and silence and not come on, where's the applause? Where's the yes? I think
it was very Midwest.
Oh, it was
made me remember where I was from. Yep. I almost felt like it put me in my place.
Yeah, it's so indecisive. I actually wish more people would try out having a fucking opinion.
Yes.
And you know what?
I agree.
Just try it. See what you get for feedback. And you know what? It's okay. If someone gets pissed off or they tell you it's, maybe you should go read this or maybe you should go check yourself. To me, this is what I am like, come on. Life is about living and trying something new. Definitely. Have a new thought, new idea.
A new experience.
Yes.
Evolution. We're always going to move. That's not an option. But to grow is an option. And I think that it's just a Midwest mindset of how that reaction was played out at that game, making the national news. It's been embarrassing to continue making the national news on things of that sort in Missouri.
What do you think people are scared of here? I want to know why people are so scared.
Losing their privilege. They're scared of being replaced or feeling like someone is taking what they have. When we're not asking for what you have, we're just asking for a piece or just a fair share.
But how the fuck does anyone feel good about privilege when it is at the fucking cost of a whole race of people? This is where I'm like, I don't even understand how anyone can actually hold their head up with any kind of pride and do it and be like, well, nothing's ever going to change and I'm going to leave in my little box. And then you go and you drive down. At this point in time, it's getting worse. Mm-hmm. The economy sucks. I'm seeing people in so much pain. And I guess I'm just, you know what it is?
The sentiments are getting worse, but also it's getting more dangerous.
It is.
They tried to attack a governor of Michigan yesterday out of nowhere, a militia group. And it makes absolutely no sense for the rhetoric to be repeated and reaffirmed by leadership in this country. And that's what's making the tone worse. It's the fact that it's reaffirmed.
The other thing I want to talk to you about and get your thoughts about is Breonna Taylor. I am I literally feel like I feel so it just gutted, disappointed, confused about what happened. It's like
just a lack of regard for human life, I think.
And so much justification of why.
Yes, because it has to be explained at this point, because people are starting to react. But the justifications don't make any sense. They say that they're going by the laws, but that's when you start to see the systematic elements. Mm-hmm. Because it is by law. You are correct. The law was not made to protect us. It was not made for us. And it's doing exactly what it was made to do. Someone was, I can't remember what I was listening to, but they talked about the Constitution when it was written. All of these laws, pardon me, that we're abiding by were written before there was electricity. It was written by candlelight, and we've made a lot of changes and reformations and things of that sort, but it hasn't been to the point where it is accommodating to people of color.
No, it was made by white men.
Right, and it is changed by white men. And you get people like RBG, who come in and make changes. Her legacy is extraordinary, and they're going to wipe that away too.
100%. And I just feel the fear in everyone I talk to. And it's so disappointing and so polarizing, because there are actual friends and family members of mine where all I want to hear is for them to have an opinion. Yes. Not just, we're just screwed.
Yes.
Well,
the nicest thing that people tend to say at this point, or conservative people, is, especially for people like RBG or anyone, oh, she got along well with the opposition. She showed a great example. There are so many other things that you could comment on that can be liberating and affirming to what is happening in our country, but it's just a refusal to tap into anything new. They just want to keep the same mindset.
How did you feel about Kamala? When you were watching
the debate?
Yeah.
I felt reaffirmed as a Black woman. It felt really good.
Yeah.
She set very clear boundaries and not necessarily like if I had a choice, these candidates, I'm on the fence about both, right?
Yeah.
But there are certain things that you just won't stand for.
Yes.
And I think the biggest point about Kamala is she is showing that Black women can be in positions of power. She is ready for leadership. And a lot of times they try to denounce us as not intelligent enough, not ready. And she is completely blowing that stigma out of the water.
100%. Her composure, but
Beautiful.
Also to the point.
All the
you
time.
will not walk on me, but I'm
not done speaking.
Yes. I can't handle any more of this crazy woman rhetoric, this emotional,
Call her a monster.
Oh, it just
That's the best you can come up with.
I mean, class with a capital C.
Totally. She went to an HBCU, which super reaffirming to me. Shout out to all the Howard alums.
Yep.
And she's an AKA. So NPHC is, we're really proud. And it's amazing to just see someone rise on that ticket and be amazing.
Well, and out of all four that spoke, she's the only one that made number one sense, and her argument staying on point. Yes. Oh my Lord. If I heard one more time Pence go in and try and, number one, just simply not debate her. Just go on I was like, where are we
with a Black woman? That's the first thing. That takes years of practice.
It was exhausting for me to watch. And then the worst, I think the thing that made me feel just absolutely like, how do you vote for a person who is asked point blank to denounce, say, please say it out loud, Mr. President, say it out loud, that you are not in any way, shape, or form calling upon any racist group. You don't even want their support. Why would you even say what he did with that little tagline? Yeah. Stand by.
Stand by.
What
does that mean? That's like that's a military call.
It's so uncomfortable.
And they've been talking about Trump's army and what's going to happen at the polls and having these poll watchers and things of this sort. Yeah. It's getting completely out of hand. To see that he's pouring accelerant on this fire to the point where there are public officials that are being plotted against and attacked, that makes no sense. That means that something is wrong. People are not listening and paying attention, nor are they caring.
So before I go into where we continue to better the mind and to inspire the health and wealth of our growth, the script you're writing for me and for the listeners, before we get to that, I guess I want to go back to one more account that happened with Trump being COVID positive, and what your thoughts were on that, and what you feel now about what this shows to our country, and how you feel about looking at a president who's just like, okay, back to work. It's not that big of a deal.
Sure. And it's going to be out tomorrow, continuing politics. I think that I get less insulted by Trump when he talks about things like systematic racism and anti-racism, because, he talked big about anti-racism. I felt personally attacked by that rhetoric. But when I hear him talk about COVID, two main points, COVID and then climate control, I'm less insulted because he's going to denounce anything that's not about him. It's not even about racism. It's not even about being black. It's about him denouncing anything that does not put more money in his pocket and make him look better. It's classic narcissism.
And at what point do the people who are benefiting from this economy look at our world and the state of it? It's like, well, as long as I have my bank account, we're good to go because it outweighs,
That's not even real.
It's...
So I do get less insulted because he's in complete denial.
He is.
About everything. He's blaming, there being brush in the forest and forest management and things of that sort. When it's climate change and it's clearly, have you seen those photos?
It's ridiculous.
It's clear as day. Literally blood red.
Yeah, and I mean clear as day as in not the sky, but clear as day as we're in trouble.
It is blood. The sky is blood red. I have to watch alternative news because sometimes I watch a lot of CNN. I binge on CNN for sure, but I've been tuning into Fox News lately.
Well, just to know what are they
saying?
Yes. what are they feeding?
But then NPR is really good. Democracy Now! Is one of my favorites because you really can see from a global perspective.
Yeah.
And then when you think about Trump on a global perspective, how he's doing these things with Putin, rubbing elbows with him, and it's all unacceptable.
So if you were going to, I'm coming to you with the sickness, the social sickness of the state of the world today. If you were going to give me advice on how to channel the rage, because right now I am in this, my own personal world. I'm having my own personal issues, let alone walking out into this world and facing what to me is so fucking scary. Yeah. You go into things with all the best intentions, and then you realize the uphill battle, and you just start to get angry. And I want to use my anger for something positive.
For sure.
But right now I feel like I'm flailing. Do you have any advice?
You are using this platform beautifully. You're channeling your anger into creativity, and that is pivotal. And I applaud you for that, for sure. That's the first thing, because we have to not be so hard on ourselves. That's part of the mental health crisis. If you're already having trauma and then you continue to talk bad to yourself, then you're not going to get anywhere. So that would be my first thing, just to, acknowledge what you're already doing. The next thing would be to choose strategically, the battles that you're going to have each day, even each minute. It gets difficult for me as yogis, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we take things one breath at a time. if I can get through this one, I can get through the next one. And I've really been practicing coming back to different types of breath. So, you know, there's open mouth, a closed mouth, which brings the heat within our bodies, alternative nostril, of course. There's a cooling breath. There's so many different kinds. And then even humming and using tones and like doing the teeth on the roof of the mouth and things, creating other connections within your body. So experiment with some of those things. Come back to your meditation, you know, your own personal practice, because we can't pour from an empty cup and we can't help anyone else if we're down on ourselves. Once you embark on the world,
that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
It's a whole other thing. Continue to just stay true to your character. You know what's right, and honor your conversations, but continue to issue challenges. So the challenges right now are politically. There are a lot of challenges. Ask people who they're voting for. You know, if you get into these debates, are they thinking about their character or their value systems or their moral compass? And if their leadership is reflecting the moral compass that they have, I think that's a critical thing to ask people. And even just as simple as intelligence. I wish that Black people could walk around and just be as normal as Trump is, right? If Obama, think about if Obama had the vocabulary that Trump has, or would say the things that he is saying, to the point where people are claiming insanity and trying to take away his power based on the 25th Amendment. That has been the argument for the past few days. Yeah. Issue that challenge. Obama would have been out of office within a year.
100%. It's the truth. It's such a state of just right now. I feel like my mouth is dropped open
all the time,
and it keeps getting worse. And I want so badly to rage against the machine. I do. I want so badly to do it. But then it does. There are days where it just feels...
It's tiring.
Yeah. Like you're tired, and you also feel like... I mean, I sit across from you as your friend, and I'm like, what can I do for her today? But then in the next breath, I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, you know, it's like...
do for yourself.
I mean, and it is. It's just this... I thought... If you would have talked to me when we started this podcast, I would have thought that I would have been more methodical and more structured. And I feel like a boat without a sail being thrown around right now. And all I'm looking for is going back to the true north, you know, of the Harriet Tubman, of like, where's that North Star? Because I'm fighting. I don't even have a sail up. And I felt it in the beginning. Like, it's so funny, even though our first podcast, I was a little nervous and a little tense. There was just this, I felt this sense of like, these are the things I have to do. These are the things I have to show up for. And now that I've been showing up for it, you know, the thing I heard the other day that just, I don't even remember who it was, but it just broke my heart, was someone talking about just getting up and doing it all over again.
Like Groundhog's Day, the movie.
And realizing if I'm feeling this way, how are you feeling? That fucking, it's like, it's overwhelming.
For sure.
It's so overwhelming. And there are days where I'm just
like, accountability buddies too. We're accountability buddies. You know, we're having conversations that other people are not having, and asking, "What do you think about that? How are you reflecting, and how are you protecting yourself?" And the time that we spend together becomes really important as well.
It does, and the joy. Like, I had so much fun. We went out the other night for dinner.
Yeah,
and it was so nice to just be Auburn and Seraphine, and not Auburn, Dr. Auburn and Seraphine, the podcaster. It just felt so good to just forget for a moment.
Not talk about any of this stuff. Yes, for sure. I mean, with masks on, so you can never really forget.
Right? but it's like you get it, but then in the next breath, there's a lot of shame and guilt too, of like when you forget.
Definitely.
And you're like, well, shit, we still have so much to do and so much to think about. And then the days that you just spin like a top. And you're like, damn it, if only I had more structure. So I guess, you know, the one thing I can tell you guys who are listening or watching is, yeah, I do feel like I could be more organized and I could have like 10 checklists of what you can do for your anti-racism work. But I guess what I'd like you to do is start to think about what you really believe in and start from there, because I can only tell you, I can sit with Auburn and we can talk for hours on end about what we're doing. But the bottom line is you have to know within your heart and soul, what do you believe in? What do you stand for? And until you make that decision, you can talk about it all you want to. You can be on the fence all you want. You can tell your black friends one thing, your white friends the other, your family another. But guess what? At some point in time, you have to make a decision on what it is you believe and be unafraid to say it. Because it's the only way things are going to change. Either it's going to change the person that you love or you care about, or it's going to change you.
Yeah.
And you're either going to learn from it or you aren't.
I agree. I've been getting a lot of feedback at the end of my workshops. People will come back and just say, I have a headache. And this is...
He's like, I have a headache too.
I'm jumping. I can't take it anymore.
He's like, I'm done.
That's the feeling right there. He's mimicking it.
Yeah.
And I say that's normal.
Yeah.
This is hard and uncomfortable work. These are 50, 60-year-old women, white women, who have never thought that they've had privilege, never even examined it or understood it. They're understanding a whole new layer of themselves.
Yeah.
And so we have to peel back those layers because it is important to our moral compass. And as we shed back those layers, you can see what starts to happen as you denounce your character, right? And your value systems and start to lean into what other people may say or do. It can be dangerous.
It is. It's really scary, especially when the very people that you love and you've, you know, formed your first thoughts with, you know, you're starting to question the values that they brought you up with, you know. And what I love is that, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have a family that will pop on the podcast when they've got the energy and they're like, okay, we're going to go for it because, girl, you go guns a-blazing. And I'm glad that they're having the conversations with me. But it still really hurts, you know, even when I do believe in the things that I'm saying.
Sure.
No one ever wants to look a parent or a friend or a person in the eye and be like, you're so fucking wrong.
Yeah. That's hard.
And it's a lot. It's just a lot to process. But rather have those conversations, rather be real, rather look my friend in the eye the same way I look my mother or my sister or a friend, and have them know that I'm not bullshitting them, that I'm making the attempt to be better.
Sure.
So I don't know. On that note, I know we got to wrap up. And if I talk anymore, you're going to knock me off the soapbox and be like, girl, calm down. As always, I just, you know, this is such an important part of my podcast. And you are first and foremost my friend. But the fact that we hold each other's space like this, you've made me a stronger woman. And I hope that you felt a little bit like you can lean in on me. And I can't wait. I'm not even going to think about next month. I'm going to think about the future and what we can do together as friends, and hopefully inspire some people to actually try on an opinion and see how it feels.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And get out and vote.
Yes, vote. Vote, 1,000 times vote. And with that, hit the like and subscribe button. For sure. I'm getting off this mic right now. See you guys later. That was another wonderful checking in with the doctor. See you later.